Or they all a bunch of snitches.
Nah, they are low key though. Like,
yo, I'm telling you. Go ahead. This is snitches,
it's just. You know what? Before we get into this, listeners, welcome back to another episode of New Lock Nerds Podcast. I'm your host, Chris, aka Prince, with the homie Darron, aka Medic Grizzly. Darron, how we doing, dog?
I'm doing great, man. Let's get into this chapter, bro. Listen, hold on real quick. I got a question for you.
Okay.
We had one scene before when Bran, back in the day, listeners go back and watch the previous chapter, when he was on his bed, and the whole scene was in the room when the assassination attempt happened. I feel like this is the same exact part, but it's another person. Like, they have these deep conversations in one little room, but it'd be the most, detailed, important things ever in these one-on-one private conversations. And I realize this, fans, Game of Thrones is a bunch of snitches. Everybody's a bunch of snitch. They snitch on this, they snitch on that. There ain't no loyalty in Game of Thrones at all, bro. Everybody's telling everything.
None. No, you're absolutely right. And it's one of those things that we've seen. Now we're on the 5th chapter of Ned here. It's such a consistent thing that he's constantly, I would say that he's constantly learning, but he is not, in fact, learning. But we are constantly learning of just the very slimy political game that is the Game of Thrones and King's Landing. And Ned is just, I mean, we've said it on here dozens of times, he's just not equipped for this kind of game. So, I mean, the chapter starts out with him visiting Grand Maester Pycelle, kind of interviewing him, trying to get the deets on Lord Jon Arryn's sudden death. That, obviously we've talked about in previous chapters. So Pycelle's kind of, going through. Pycelle's not giving a ton of information, just like, look, he got sick. There was one maester that was caring for him. I didn't think he was doing a good enough job. Me being the Grand Maester, I kind of came in, tried to ease his pain, but wasn't a whole lot I can do. And, the show has given us a lot of added information about Pycelle's allegiances to House Lannister.
Yes.
But I mean, the way that he's explaining this stuff, especially like when Ned asks him, hey, you've been Grand Maester for a long time. You've seen lots of illnesses. Is this anything unlike anything you've ever seen? And Pycelle kind of gives a good answer. He's like, I'll tell you this. I've seen lots of different illnesses over my very long life. All illnesses are the same, and all of them are different. And he's kind of right about that, because it's like the flu might hit you harder than it hits me. You know what I mean? Like, we might both have a stomach bug, but it might only be on me for 24 hours. It might take you out for a week, right? So like, and it could be the same exact infection, right? And so like, I think, especially in this kind of world where there's not a ton of technology, people look to maesters as like these like very advanced healers.
Yeah.
But we know, because we have modern medicine, these guys are just kind of shooting off the hip. Of course, they have like basic understanding of like potions and poisons and natural remedies and stuff like that. But I mean, like, fever still take people out the game in this world.
You know what, bro?
My son's got a fever right now. He's fine. I'm not worried.
Yeah.
He'll be all right.
You have a kind heart. You have a kind heart, ladies and gentlemen. This man right here, you thought the passage was like that. I took it differently, bro. I took it as the most scripted bullshit answer of all time. And maybe this is the part of where the show has poisoned my brain. Because I've seen things in the show that if I probably read this chapter without even knowing the show, I'd probably be like, yo, I mean, he's just trying his best. Everybody knows dabble. I think that was full of shit. I think he wanted to tap out and tap back in because he was actually getting stronger and better, and they wanted him to die. That's what I think it happened. So they actually control the medicine and see what's happening and make sure that any questions or anything he was on, once they found out that he was on some stuff and he was on a different path and doing some research, they wanted to dead that.
Now, let me be clear. Let me be clear. I said that he gave a good answer.
Oh, he did.
I do not believe Pycelle.
Okay.
Let me be clear about that. Okay. And that's why I prefaced all the whole, the show giving us additional information about his allegiance to the House Lannister, because, no, Pycelle's a shitbag.
show definitely poisoned my brain, bro. So when I think about Master, I'm like, okay, they're doctors and stuff, and you read the passage. But then, like you said, this is chapter 5 of Ned. And it feels like he's just the warrior, not the leader. Like, he's the guy you send in to clear the pathway, but not the one you want to walk to delegate or decide to, like, manage. Because you were asking why someone got your stepdad, we're going to call him, your father figure at a young age, why he was and did die. When you already know your wife in town investigating stuff when she found out there's more going on. So your intentions and how you come off, it's like, why are you questioning this now? Like, what are you really trying to get to? And we already told you before, people are watching you, everything you do, bro. And you decide to go into this conversation like you're walking to the snake pit. You're literally walking to a snake pit and you're asking, you're pushing. And then when you gave a very generic answer, which the master did, he kept pushing it. He kept trying to find out more. Even to the point where he said, yo, that book, I'm very curious about the book that he wrote. Like, bro, you want to die. Like, I want to, like, into the screen, like, yo, stop it. Just go back. Just chill.
Well, it's just that he's naive, Darron. I mean, like he and like that's something that we'll get into the end of the chapter when he's talking to Littlefinger, but all those things, I think Ned understands that he is playing a very dangerous game, and he understands that there are lots of spies and there's a spy network in King's Landing, but I don't think anyone can fully grasp the extent of how corrupted this city is. I don't think anyone can, especially if you haven't been to King's Landing in 2 decades, however long it's been since Ned's been there, right? I don't think you can really understand just how much of a cesspool that city is. You can't. I mean, think about it. The people who are actually playing the game, and like Littlefinger says it himself, when he's kind of pointing out all these different spies, he's like, there's many others, some unknown even to me. And I think we would consider Littlefinger a bit of an expert in this whole King's Landing politics.
He's definitely top tier.
Can't identify all the spies in the network.
Yeah.
So like someone like Ned, dude, he's a fish out of water.
Bro, drowning. And like all I could think of was like I said, the show poisoned my brain a little bit. I'm like, I know why you died. I can see it now. You just poked too many. You try to like move too many curtains and look behind there. They try to hide the dirt, bro. They try to hide. They didn't want to put it in the trash can because everybody will see it. They try to put it in the corner. So nobody. That's literally what they're doing. And you like, nah, I'm opening the curtain right here. I'm opening the window here, bro. All you doing is shining light on yourself to get blasted. So tell me how you get it. And that conversation towards the end when they said like the book was mentioned. Like, because what you see in the show and you being the expert of actually reading it, what correlated in your brain? Like, oh, snap.
So it's tough to gauge, like, kind of like what my initial thoughts really are, like reading the chapter, because I had watched the show before I read the books, right? So I knew what the book was, right? Because we had that scene in the show where he's like looking through the lineages. But George puts this in here throughout all this dialogue that him and Pycelle have as almost a throwaway. And Pycelle's telling him about like, yeah, well, you know, there was this one book that he came to see. And I had a feeling that like he was troubled by something. It's, you know, some very boring book about the lineages of the great houses. But then later on, he talks about Jon Arryn on his deathbed calling out for Robert, but not knowing if he was talking about King Robert or Robert Arryn, his son.
Yes.
And then, you know, of course, Pycelle mentions, I know we all know this line, Jon Arryn repeatedly saying, the seed is strong before he died.
Bar.
Right? It's a bar. That's a bar. That's a bar. So like, it's hard for me to say that like if I had not watched the show and I read this for the first time, would I have picked that up? I guess if you look at all the context clues of like Bran's fall, right, by Jaime, Lysa's letter to Catelyn that the Lannisters killed, like you can put this together if you're really paying attention. And And I like to think that the casual reader, since they do have more information than Ned, is a little bit quicker to figure things out than Ned is.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would imagine if this was my first time reading the chapter without having any knowledge of the show, maybe I would be like, huh, something's up here. I mean, obviously something is up, right? But I don't know if I would go straight to what the answer inevitably is right away.
You know,
what about you?
The coolest thing about this book, and I'm realizing more and more, is that he puts people in elements they're not used to make them help their character. So we have the backstory of them winning the war and that they're great warriors, King Robert and himself. But then they're put in positions where they're not good at their skill set. And then the people who are good at their skill set are their ladies who are crafty and they're slithering, bro. They're really, really, really like...
Yep.
And they got overshadowed because they're a woman. So in this time period, so you put men who don't belong inside the house in the house. And then you want them to delegate and talk when men don't talk in general and know the right things of doing things. So that's just a part of the game, and the game is hilarious. And then you can have women who can see things from a different point of view and see like, all right, since you don't want to listen, you bullheaded, I'm going to go this way. I'm going to get the job done my way. And it comes off very like you're like almost like, yo, they're sneaky. But the fact is they have to be because they don't. It would never be.
That's
ready.
The only... Right, exactly. That they can't move the same way. Like Cersei, even as a queen, she can't move how Robert moves.
Because he actually said was a queen there because he thinking was the answers like almost like trimmed down a little bit because her presence. She wasn't there. She was getting ready for everything that was going to happen with the whole entire event in the ball. But like that happening and knowing that was actually a one-on-one real conversation, and the conversation still is not clear, is a definition of men at this time talking to each other. Nothing's clear. Every conversation, every passage we ever read is confuzzled. But when a female steps into the scene, oh, okay, so y'all trying to get you true intentions of what it is. It could be evil as heck, but we actually understand it.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic, especially like when you bring it up about like George putting a lot of characters in uncomfortable positions, which I think, I mean, in real life too, that is how you really develop yourself into, well, in a good case, into something that like you're striving towards, right? Like you have to constantly, whether it's in business or whatever, you have to put yourself in uncomfortable positions to be able to grow. But yeah, no, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like George does this in such a graceful way where he has his characters, he knows exactly who his characters are and how they would react in certain situations, and he puts them in those situations. And like you said, like given the setting that these men are in, especially like a man like Ned, he cannot see anything outside his own perspective.
Nope.
So like when he's talking to Peter to Littlefinger at near the end of the chapter, he's like, Littlefinger's telling him, about all these different spies, and you can't go send for these people because people are watching you. You can send other people to go tell other people to meet you somewhere.
That's crazy, bro.
Right?
Said,
but Ned doesn't get that. He doesn't understand that. And Littlefinger is like trying to, and he's still mocking him. And I think that is kind of the genius in Littlefinger's character, is that he knows Ned is never going to get it, which is why he torments him, which is why he taunts him constantly, because he knows it doesn't matter how much evidence of you're fucked that I show you, you're never going to get it. So he's like, he brings him over to the window and he's just like, Ned, look outside. Look at these people. That's a spy. That's a spy. That's a spy. There could be others. I don't know. And he asked him straight up, like, is there anyone in your service that you trust completely? And Ned's like, yes. And Littlefinger's like,
you're stupid. You're stupid. It's a setup question. The answer to the question is no. Because if a spy, he's telling you there's people watching you. And then you're going to tell the person who has somebody watching you who I trust the most? You dumb, bro. I'm sorry. Like, this is a moment where I'm looking like, yo, you are the sword. You can never be my shield. Never, ever, ever be my shield. Because all I'm going to do that shield, you're going to move to the side to get a swipe in. You're not actually going to stand there and protect me. You don't get it.
Well, because you don't even know where the attack's coming from.
At all. Littlefinger is the definition of somebody who, I've been here for a minute, bro. You go ahead and swim out in the deep water. You sure you don't want his life back? You want his jacket right here?
I love the way George writes the end of this chapter because he doubles down on this, where right after Littlefinger asks him, is there anyone you trust completely? And Ned says yes. Littlefinger's like, no. The wiser answer is no. Mm-hmm. And then when Littlefinger's getting ready to leave, Ned, again, like not even 30 seconds removed from having that dialogue that we just talked about, says, Lord Baelish, I basically apologizing, perhaps I was wrong to distrust you. And Littlefinger's like, dude, distrusting me is the single wisest thing you've done since you got to King's Landing.
Another bar smack in your face. I'm telling you, I'm dropping these lines. I'm not going to help you because you're with my lady. I want her. I don't really care for you. But I'm also not going to purposely kill you. But if you want to keep walking the path, I'm going to say, yo, bro, make a left. You keep going straight. Yo, bro, step up on this right. All right, cool. I can't do nothing. I tried.
That's why I think, and I don't want to get too away from, the chapter, but I think, there was a line in the show in like season 7 or 6 or whatever that Sansa said to Jon, and she was like, look, I love Robb and our father, Ned, but they were not politically savvy. They both made stupid decisions, and they both lost their heads for it. And that's how I feel about that. I love Ned. I've always loved Ned. He will always have a special place in my heart. I love Ned.
Yeah.
But he's not built for this, bro. He's just not built for this.
No. Like, fans, I hope you guys are watching this. I hope you guys are listening to us. Please comment below us know how you feel about Ned's. Because the more I read and the more I'm learning from the Great Prince and everything else, I understand why his fate was so early in the game. I get it now because it's like you weren't going to last. The book wouldn't have made sense for him to make it past these points just because he doesn't learn to evolve with his surroundings. Yeah. And the people in the corner, they shine. They definitely shine in this type of game. Wow. Dang, bro. 5 chapters in and it's still the same story.
Yeah, still the same story. I just feel like we're getting more of the same with Ned. It's just he's just going deeper and deeper, and he does not realize that he is quite literally digging his own grave.
It's a wrap, bro. It's a wrap. I'm sorry. Yeah. It's right on the wall. It's there.
It's there. It's all there. It's all there. And and we're talking about Ned so much, I totally glossed over the fact that that one little conversation that he had with Arya.
Yes.
About, she was kind of asking about Bran, saying, what's going to happen to him? Like, what's he got to like look forward to essentially?
He was
truthful. Right. And Ned didn't bullshit her. And that's what I love that dynamic. I always love that dynamic between Ned and Arya because he doesn't treat her the same way he treats Sansa. Like, I think he understands Arya's nature and he knows what Arya is and what she's not. And she even tells him explicitly, like, you will marry a king or a lord and rule his castle, and your sons will be knights and princes and kings and lords. And she's like, nah, I'm good. That sounds like Sansa. And then like she goes back to practicing, and he's just like, well, what are you gonna do? He's just so at his wit's end with Arya. He's just like, whatever, just do whatever you want.
Yo, what chapter we have next, bro?
We're back with Jon next week.
Listen, fans, I understand, like, we had new Black Nerds be here. We're not stopping until chapter 1025, all right? I understand that y'all have to shift over to the Ghostly Network for the stations. I get it. Trust me. Stick with us. We're not going to stop. When the shows drop, everything, we're going to continue to bring out more stuff. Thank you guys so much for the support. I really, really do. Prince, I just realized this is like chapter 27 total or 20. It's like we're in the 20s, whatever, for our total chapters, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we're only on like episode 5 of the TV show. that is so cool in my head. Cause I'm like, yo, there's so much that
there's so
the
much.
Show that
there's
we haven't
so
got
much.
to.
There's so much.
So I'm like super geeked a little bit because like we haven't got to the gold, the dude. We got poured gold over his head. We haven't got to that part. We haven't got to the dragons part. We haven't got to like even the invasion of the different. We haven't really got to.
Bro, we have not even begun to scratch the surface.
So everyone, please, like I thank you, Prince, for bringing this book to my attention, and I will continue. I can't wait. I'm excited. The more I think about it, it's like, bro, how are they going to write the passage when the dragons crack? How are they going to write the emotional ties? I just want to. Yeah, I'm ready. I am so ready.
I mean, and again, this is why like people always said that the books are always better than the adaptation because, like you said, we're on chapter 20 something in this book, and we're only crossing halfway through the first season, maybe.
Yes.
Right? Like there's so much more detail in this world that you can't translate into screen, right? Because you don't have the benefit of having inner monologues and thoughts and stuff like that without it being overly cheesy or overly used. So yeah, I mean, like Darron said, we really appreciate you guys sticking with us on this journey. If you guys have not read the books, it's not too late to pick it up and follow along with us. There's trust me when I tell you, there's so much more in these books that we did not get in the show it's.
Trust me,
I look forward to doing this. I look forward to doing this every single week because it's and I've read these books 4 times now. Like bro, I love revisiting it.
I am a rookie to this reading the book stuff, and he's not lying. I've learned so much in this short period of time, and it makes me like want to rewatch the season and be like, yo, that ain't right. Yo, I need a little more detail. Like, yo, rescript this whole thing. Who wrote this? Like, that's what I feel like. But it's been a pleasure, bro. It's been a freaking
Yeah, so don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, tell your friends. Let us know what you guys think of poor good old Ned's naivete in the political realm of King's Landing. We'll catch you guys next week at the wall with Jon Snow. I've been Prince, Darron.
Let's get it.
It's been a pleasure as always, bro, and always catch y'all next week.
Until then.